Hello, Vibers. So it has been, that was weird where I had that, right? It's because I'm trying not to cover up our goddess for today's prompt. So, hi, Vibers. Sorry, Sulis Minerva. I am so happy to be back with you today. This is actually long overdue. We first started our journal prompts, I think it was November 11th. So it was last month. And then, I had some life changing events happen, which knocked me off a schedule for a while. But I am back. And today we are focusing on Sulis Minerva. 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 And what we can learn from her. Now, I want to start off by saying to you guys, thank you for being here with me for these journal prompts. I know that some of you have gotten great benefit from it so far. If you happen to like the messages that are coming through with these prompts, if you feel like they are helping you to enhance your journal practice, or if you just like the sound of my voice, remember to give a like to this video so that the YouTube algorithm or whatever platform you happen to be watching this on knows to push it out to more people who could also benefit from what we are doing together here today. So let's talk about this awesome goddess. Now, she was relatively new to me until yesterday. I was doing my own prayer time and chose to pull from the Goddesses Among Us deck from Rockpool Publishing. I can't remember the author's name right now off the top of my head. Is it Stacy DeMarco that does those decks? I'm not sure, but whoever it is, I will definitely link to it in the description box of this video in case you choose to get one for yourself, a deck for yourself. But yeah, I have several goddess decks, as I've mentioned several times before, and I did a pull, and I got Sulis Minerva. Minerva. We're just going to call her Minerva going forward. There's something about putting the two parts of her name together that trips up my tongue. But let's talk about that, because I'm sure many of you have heard of Minerva before, but you may not have heard of Sulis before, unless you happen to be of Celtic heritage. So what I learned about her yesterday is that she is, and this is a quote from the guidebook for this deck, an amalgamation of two deities who were joined together during the Roman occupation of Britain. Sulis Minerva is her name. That's what we call her now. But she was born from Sulis, the Celtic goddess of water, the sun and healing, and Minerva, who was the Roman goddess of wisdom, which I'm sure, as I said before, many of you have heard of. So as I went on to learn more about her yesterday, and as I look at this depiction of her here on this card, she became, for me, the beach goddess. Yeah, that's right, you heard it. Now, I am not trying to diminish her power in any way. In fact, it's the opposite. Because for me personally, and I'm sure for many of you, the beach is a very, very powerful place. Yes, we tend to associate it with fun and frolicking, good times, laughter, drunkenness maybe, or even murder, because of how we see the beach used in storytelling in modern day media, particularly television procedurals. However, the beach for me is a place where I do feel reawakened to my own inherent power, because it's at the beach where all five elements are at play at once. We clearly have the water. We clearly have the earth, which is the beach. We have the sun most days. If we're at the beach, it's usually because it's a sunny day. We have the air blowing around us, moving the waves, creating the waves of the ocean. Yes? And then we also have ourselves, which is that fifth spirit. The wind being air. I didn't say that. Probably didn't need to break it down for this particular audience. Y'all are smart. And Minerva being, this incarnation of her as Sulis Minerva, the goddess of water, the sun, and healing. Does that not sound like the beach to you? And then Minerva being the goddess of wisdom. Do you find that when you go to the beach, particularly if you happen to go by yourself, you come away with insights that you didn't have before you got there, maybe because you have spent some time meditating actively or just contemplating life, walking along the shore on your own. This is what I do when I go to the beach alone. And there is something for me about being there that is so healing that I am able to sleep at night. So I get a sense of healing as well as a sense of my own personal power, as well as my power that comes from being connected as part of the universe as a whole, being that fifth element of spirit connected to the earth, the air, the fire, which is the sun, and the water, which is the ocean. Well, I guess I didn't need to tell you that the ocean is water. Again, that's how I do. So yeah. And then, again, the way they have her depicted here too, that sun is flaming behind her. Her dress looks like the water of the ocean, and it's an off the shoulder dress. So that does connect to that sense of fun that we have typically when we go to the beach, whether alone or with others. It's definitely associated with the relaxation for many of us, vacation for many of us, And then her face, that's where the wisdom lies. That's where the Minerva part of it comes in. Sulis being the part that is all the oceanic stuff that we talked about, or the beach-related stuff that we talked about. But that wisdom, this is a woman who has seen and learned. And I feel that those of you who are watching this video right now, you are a being who has seen and learned. And sometimes we forget to remember that we are wise. Because as we go through life, we're constantly encountering new things, new situations, new people, which means we are always in learning mode. You are never living and not learning. And sometimes the things that come up for us might make us feel as though we are confused, discombobulated, don't want to make a mistake, don't want to make the same mistakes we've made in the past. And when we get to that, when we get triggered to those places, we get triggered in our minds to forgetting that we have wisdom. There are the wisdoms that we are just born with, because by your very nature, you are powerful and magical before people start teaching you otherwise. But then there are the wisdoms that we have learned from going through experiences. So in this particular deck, the Goddesses Among Us deck, oh wait, there's her name. There's the, hold on. Victoria Maxwell is the author, and Ellie Grant is the illustrator. This deck, the guidebook, gives us first a description of the goddess, and then also gives us her main oracle, which is her main teaching, as well as how to apply that which is her energy in different areas of our life. Love, prosperity, purpose, healing, creativity, magic. Now, we are not going to cover all of those today because this would be a super long video, but also because I want you guys to be able to focus in on two specific areas right now. And then in the future, we might visit this goddess again for our journal prompts and use one of the other guidances for a different area of life. But before I give you your exact prompt for today, just some things to think about in regards to her. It says here in the book, she's often considered to be a water goddess due to her connection with the sacred spring and Roman baths in the town of Bath. Oh, Bath, Somerset, it says specifically. And it says she is worshipped as a sun goddess. So again, speaking of the power, the sun is the most powerful energy that we know of, if I'm not mistaken. There have been so many developments in science and constantly tend to be new developments in science. And I am not great at science, so I don't follow that stuff. But whether it's the most powerful energy source there is, it is definitely one of the most, even if it's not the most. And it says she was called upon in ancient times to bring healing, but also she was invoked to bring ill to enemies. Now, my viewership is made up of, from what I gather from those of you who tend to comment on the videos, Some of you are spiritual workers, energy workers, light workers. Several of you are tarot readers. The tarot community has been so welcoming of me and what I bring to the platforms, and I am so grateful for that. And not only have you been willing to collaborate with me, but also watch my stuff. I mean, that's such an honor that people who I am a fan of have become regular watchers of my things. And then some of you guys came to the content because of having dealt with troubling situations in your personal life, particularly in your relationships with those whom we deem to be narcissists, or maybe just dysfunctional if you come from a dysfunctional family background. When you have that in your history, and maybe sometimes even when you don't have that in your history, you can feel as though there is an evil eye on you, right? Sometimes you feel like someone is throwing shade your way, I don't know if it's like someone does an evil eye on you or just sends you the evil eye. You might find yourself in a space of fighting a lot. Sometimes maybe feeling as though you have to fight to make life happen. And and it's because of things that have been done to you. You may be somebody who actively thinks of yourself as having enemies. You might also be someone, if you come from a dysfunctional background, who sees enemies in people who actually are not your enemy, but you don't find that out till later. Sometimes maybe even not at all. But because of what you have experienced and gone through, you are primed for a fight, or you are having negative reactions to aspects of someone's personality and projecting onto them something that's not there. And in some cases, you have real, actual flipping enemies. So one of the things that is mentioned in this book about Minerva is that people did call upon her to help them bring ill will to their enemies. But as most of you know, we are now in the age of Aquarius, and things which served us when we were in the previous age, don't quote me on this, but I think we were in the Piscean age before. If you know, please let me know in the comments. I think it was the Piscean age. Actions, thoughts, activities that might have been able to fly during that time don't have the same effect now. They don't fly in the same way now. So the guidance of this book here in regards to invoking Minerva is to focus on the healing, as opposed to trying to get back at somebody, trying to do something to your enemy. And so we are going to look today at the two sections from the guidebook that speak about the healing and that speak about magic. My personal belief is that the more healed we are, the more magical we are. My personal belief is that we are all, again, I said it already, inherently powerful. But when we have been traumatized or just had certain kinds of negative circumstances or hurts, we feel weakened. And that makes us not feel powerful. And that, the feeling of not being powerful, is what disconnects us from our inherent magic. So we're going to look at those two things. I'm going to share with you again directly from the guidebook ways it says to connect with Sulis Minerva in regards to your healing and or regards to your magic. And for those of you who are energy workers or light workers, tarot readers, if you do sound healing, whatever it is that you do, even if it's not in the spiritual space, the type of healing you do. When we get this message around the healing, see how you can apply it to yourself, but also see how you can apply it to your, what's the word? It's not clients, it's not customers, it's not necessarily patients. The people that you work with, what's the word? I can't think of it right now. It's going to come to me when I don't need it. But anyway, you're a practitioner. So the people whom you serve. All right, so we're going to start there. And then we're going to talk about the magic. And then I'm going to give you an exact journal prompt. All right. So for the healing, it says, spend time in or near water to promote healing. Make sure you're filling your own cup and resting and recharging. Think of yourself as a solar light. Y'all know I love that. Think of yourself as a solar light. You can't shine if you're not charged, it says. And this is true. And you are meant to shine. You are meant to shine. If you have a body of water near you, go and spend time near that body of water. It doesn't have to be the ocean. And the next thing that we're going to cover speaks to doing it right at the home if you don't happen to live near a body of water. So this is for magic, connecting with Sulis Minerva in regards to your personal magic. It says, ritual bathing is a wonderful way to heal, release, nourish yourself, and connect with Sulis Minerva. Draw a bath, fill it with blue and yellow flowers, and step in with the intention you are connecting with her and her great healing powers. I just love the idea of taking a bath that's filled with blue and yellow flowers. And the minute I leave LA, the minute we move from this town, I cannot wait to move back into a place where I have a bath that is big enough to accommodate my very long legs. The ones in the places where I've lived here have not. But fortunately, I am near the ocean. Nourishment is called for you, particularly if you happen to work as a healer, because you are constantly giving out of that energy and you need to remember to replenish. I'm not telling you something you haven't heard before. I'm also inclined to remind you, drink water. Be in the water, but drink the water. Water is naturally healing, very naturally healing. And life is one of her keywords here too. Life and life to the fullest is what you have the ability to bring, to experience, and to offer to others. Okay? So the healing and the connecting with your magic is going to help you to feel again your own wisdom. For your journal prompt, and feel free to do this, feel free to do your journaling after having spent some time at that body of water or having taken your bath. You don't have to do those things first, but there could be benefit to that. For your journal prompt, start with the sentence, and these are the ways in which I am wise. And just make a bulleted list of the ways in which you are wise, and add to that the ways in which you are a blessing to others. Add to that ways in which you feel you have been successfully healed, and then finish it up with ways in which you bring healing to those around you. That is your journal prompt today, you guys. And it sounds like a long list, but it may not be because you might end up having just 2 or 3 or 4 in each of those 4 categories that I mentioned. But I am going to remember to put that list of things to write for your prompt right here as a reminder. And if you don't want to do it all as one list, you can break it up and do 4 different journal entries throughout the next few days, or until it's time for us to do another journal prompt. You know, I do think there is benefit to doing them all at one time, so you can just see how much of a treasure you truly are and how much you have personally grown. And then finally, if you feel called to it, remember that Sulis Minerva is ready and willing to be a guide for you in those times when you feel like you could benefit from her energies and her teachings. There is power here, and there is power in you. Sometimes we have to use water to clean away, to wash away things that, aren't great for us anymore. Experiences that we've had in a given day or maybe over our lifetime. All right, you guys. Oh, this gets shaky. I'm sure you've seen that in the tarot video sometimes too. Sorry. All right, you guys, this is your journal prompt for today. Thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.